Hello and welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with Dr. Jason Deitch. We appreciate you tuning in each and every Tuesday where we talk mindset, marketing, business principles. We have an awesome featured guest each and every week, and we do everything we can to highlight new things in the profession and things out there, steps that you can take, practical implementation. It all starts with mindset, however, so that you can build and grow the practice of your dreams, not the practice that you have today, but where you want to go in the future. That takes action. We highlight how you can take that action. It's up to you to take that action to get the results you desire. We do our best to lead the way or at least guide you side by side. So thank you so much for tuning in. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just getting back from a great trip. You and I both went on to Santa Fe, New Mexico as part of the Ultimate Achievers Club. We had the wonderful opportunity to listen to some great speakers, including the great supermodel Elle McPherson. Did a wonderful job explaining to people the value of subscribe and save supplements. It was awesome to hear, not just from us, but from experts out there building multi-million-dollar supplement companies and how they do it, how they think about it. The common denominator, when I asked her the question from the audience, was she said, the most valuable part about our business is the monthly recurring revenue that she gets from teaching people. And what she said that I thought was so fantastically important was she said that that wasn't my intention going into it. My intention going into the subscribe and save program was because that was the way to make it easy for people to get the results, because these products are part of a lifestyle. And buying one bottle is not a lifestyle. Receiving enough that you need each and every month becomes the lifestyle. That was the heart. That was the intent. She nailed it. It was really, really exciting to get that sort of, I guess, validation about what we've been teaching in the Payday practice. So I'm doing great. I'm excited. It's a great experience with you in New Mexico and the rest of the UAC crew. We'll give them a shout out. Gentempo, Franson, Minor, all of them. It was a great weekend. I'm doing great, and I'm ready for another great show.
So am I. You left me on a cliffhanger there. If you want to pick up the Payday practice, if you're listening and watching, you can get it on Amazon right now. It's all about how you can create monthly recurring revenue, as Jason said, to meet or exceed your monthly expenses in 1 day guaranteed. We'll show you step by step how to do that in the Payday practice. Everybody that's picked up a copy around the world, thank you so much for doing so. The Payday practice on Amazon.com. You know how to find it there. And the reviews have been awesome so far. Thank you for everybody that has picked up a copy, that's left a review, that's sent us an email. We appreciate it. That is years worth of work, and it is going to be years worth of what we discuss because it's so important for everybody to understand the stability they can have and ultimately the financial freedom they can attain once they have monthly recurring revenue. We're going to get into that in a little while. Let's kick it off with today's mindset segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to the Mindset segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. We kick off each and every week with mindset because it is critical to everything that follows. And today, we're going to talk about how top podcasters, influencers, and experts promote products without selling anything. If you have listened to a podcast or watched a podcast in video form on YouTube, you have seen this happen. There's a simple way you can do it yourself. Jason?
Well, we've been getting more and more feedback from those of you reading the Payday practice. If you haven't yet, in a nutshell, let's give you the mindset so that today's segment makes sense to you. The mindset is for you to be able to practice financially stress-free, for you to be able to practice where all your monthly expenses are handled so that you can then focus on serving people the way you want to. We shared it with Dr. Stephen Franson over the weekend. He goes, wait a minute, this sounds really smart. What I hear you saying is handle the health of your business so you can focus then on handling the health of your patients, your people, your community. And that was a great way of sort of reflecting back. We said, bingo, that's exactly it. That's what we're talking about here today. So we've been getting a lot of questions as we, at UAC and people emailing in and in the group all over, I like the idea, but there's obviously, I'm a chiropractor, Jeff's a chiropractor, you're probably a chiropractor. There's somewhat of a stigma around selling supplements because of the selling part. Nobody likes feeling like they're selling. The other part, in fact, I got this conversation over the weekend, somebody brought up, they go, it's just always been a challenge for me because the time it takes to educate someone about why they need a particular supplement so they can sell them a bottle of that supplement is so much time. It's just easier for me to do another 1 or 2 adjustments in that time. And when I think about calculating the money, I just can't get over that hump, which is why I stay focused on providing adjustments and not promoting supplements. Well, we want to break that, I'll say, myth or limiting belief, as some might call it, and maybe reframe it for those of you that are still focused on, I make the most amount of money by bending over a table providing adjustments. Now, I understand nobody's not denying the fact that as a chiropractor, your job is to provide adjustments. Nobody's changing that. But what I can tell you from my experience is that more and more chiropractors are stressed out in practice and are modifying their recommendations, are modifying who they work with and don't work with, are just sort of focused primarily on what do I need to do to maximize my profitability or at least pay the bills. And it steals the joy of being in practice. And in fact, if you're going to be completely honest with yourself, it probably interferes with and in some way messes around with the way you care for people, what you teach them, how you charge, your care plan recommendations, because it just seems like most conversations have come down to fixing money problems. And that's a problem if you're always fixing money problems. That's really what we want to talk about here today. And the topic I chose to talk about here is the mindset of how do you sell without selling? And that comes down to teaching and inviting consistently. And what I've been seeing on a consistent basis, I want to invite you to learn from, are exactly what Jeff brought up earlier on. And it's podcasts, whether it's watching them on YouTube, listening to them on iTunes or Spotify. There's a very specific formula I think all of us can emulate, model, learn from, and implement. And that is the idea of when we talk about teaching and inviting consistently, just about every program out there teaches and invites, but are there and thank their sponsors. So for those of you who are part of the Smart Chiropractor, just as an example, and for those of you watching, you know that we give you a weekly script that follows our monthly campaigns and weekly topics, so you can be doing your own videos called Research That Matters that teaches your community something new, something different, something they can learn from, benefit from, and gives them yet one more reason to want to work with you or refer to you or soon to be perhaps buy from you. And the way to do it without feeling like you're selling is to teach something in a sort of show or podcast type format. We'll get into details a lot in the book. If you haven't read it, please do. But the way to do it so that you never feel like you're selling anything is to stay focused on being a teacher. You know, doctor means teacher. So be a doctor. That doesn't mean diagnostician. It means teacher. Be a teacher, invite them to something, but include who is sponsoring your program. And if you want our recommendation, you should be sponsoring your own program. So if you understand what we're talking about with our Smart Care stores and our Basis Health supplements that are designed to be everybody, everyday supplements, you'll see there's a common thread and an easy, hassle-free, done for you way to recommend the things you recommend most. The problem and reason why most of you aren't doing it, as I mentioned earlier, is because it feels like selling. It feels like you've got to educate them about the supplement, and you don't have to do it that way. The way you can, and I think should do it, is to follow what top podcasters, influencers, experts are doing. Go to YouTube. If you want to look at some specific examples, the ones I recommend, you can look up Andrew Huberman. You can look up Aubrey Marcus and a whole variety of other examples of podcasts or podcasters that start their podcasts and then sometimes in the middle and sometimes at the end and sometimes infused in between will thank their sponsors. And it'll often sound something like, welcome to today's episode of Research That Matters. Today we're going to talk to you all about how you can reduce your headaches without using drugs. But before we talk about that, I want to thank our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by the Smart Care store, exclusively offering Basis Health supplements. When people ask me, what's my favorite daily supplement that I take every day and share with my family? It is the Basis Health Daily Multi that is my favorite. It's doctor formulated, professional grade. It has none of that extra junk stuff in it. It is clean, it is good, it is effective, it is affordable. It's what I take. And when people ask me what I think they should take, that's my number one recommendation. You can get it at our Smart Care store at fill in your URL here. So if you want to know what I recommend and take, that's what I recommend and take. And we thank our sponsors for that today. Now let's talk about how you can be healing your headaches without medications on a regular basis. That is just a quick example, just off the top, on how you should be thinking your mindset about teaching and inviting consistently, how to start integrating and promoting your favorite products, hopefully in your Smart Care store, without ever feeling like you're selling anything. Nobody likes to be sold, yet everybody loves to buy, as Jeffrey Gitomer said. We feel the same way. We're here, we're teaching. We'll, of course, say thank you to our sponsors, in this case, the Payday Practice. The Payday Practice is the book that will help you reduce your financial stress forever, help you finance your future, help you get back to practicing the way you've always wanted to, not the way you feel like you financially have to. Get your copy of the Payday Practice at thepaydaypractice.com. So hopefully some of that came through. Jeff, your thoughts?
Great job. You broke the fourth wall there. Seeing it in action while I was listening, I love it. So much to be learned with what you just described. And docs listening and watching, I'm going to ask, if you are checking this out right now, rewind and listen to it again, because you probably hear this every time you tune into anything on YouTube or via a podcast. And it's probably, just gone over your head at this point because you so commonly hear it. Yet I find that a fraction, 0.01% of chiropractors implement this in what they do. And that is really the genius of what Jason just described. It's bridging that gap between not only understanding and hearing what others are doing, but using it as a model for how you can go about your business, your practice, and highlighting things in a fun, in a casual way that's not selling, but is based and rooted in a teach and invite philosophy, but gets to the point, and that gives you the opportunity not to have to hop on and do a video selling something, but you do the video that you were going to do. You create the content piece you were going to do anyway, and just have that little, as we would say, spot or bumper, that little highlight. That is how top podcasters, influencers, and experts promote products without selling. And Jason, you did a great job describing it. Docs, again, listening and watching. Rewind. This is a powerful segment. This is a 6-figure segment per year for you if you implement. We're going to go deeper in subsequent episodes, but that is setting the stage for mindset on today's Smart Chiropractor show. And now we're going to get into research that matters. Welcome to Research That Matters on today's Smart Chiropractor show. The clock and the calendar has turned. We are in August. That means we have a new monthly campaign going on and a new weekly topic. If you have been following along, you know at the Smart Chiropractor, we believe in a core philosophy of teach and invite consistently. That is how we think about content creation. That's how we think about email. That's how we think about social media. What can you teach? Because that gives you the opportunity to invite. And if you do that consistently, you're going to build an awesome practice. We've been showing examples of this each and every week through our member highlights, through our featured guest interviews. But for today's episode, we're talking August 2022, which is where we're at today. And our monthly campaign switched over to, in my opinion, one of the most important campaigns that you can discuss, which is how does an adjustment work? There's so much to dive into with this that it is incredible. But you think about how little people know about chiropractic. Think about how little people then know about what actually happens when the care that you deliver occurs in your practice. It is a wealth of misinformation and non-information, and it is our job, your job, all of our jobs to fill in that knowledge gap. Now, we break those monthly campaigns. That's a big topic, as I said. That's why it's a monthly campaign. Our weekly topic is the facet joints, gliding your way to better health. I always think of the facet joints as they glide and gap. That is their job. And the facet joints, as we know, as we age, we're under the stress of gravity, injuries occur. Facet joints get loaded with increased load as we age. Why? Because our axis of rotation migrates posteriorly. So as we age, our facets undergo excess load year after year, after decade, as we age. And quite often, those facets can have or cause restrictions in movement patterns, whether you're using DNS, SFMA, however you're assessing movement, straight up range of motion and goniometers, however you're doing it. You probably have noticed that when people's facets are not gliding and gapping the way that they should, biomechanics are altered. That's a challenge. And then you deal with a cascade of challenges from that. And ultimately, that can impact really, it only takes one or two steps, just about anything in our lives. We've touched on previously how it can affect posture and how posture can be interwoven with our mood and depressive-like symptoms. It can go all the way over, of course, to pain. And clearly, it can affect performance. If you're not able to cleanly and clearly move through a great segmental and regional range of motion, you can't have optimal performance. So this is a very, very important topic. There's a lot of things that happen when an adjustment is delivered. We're going to get to those as our weekly topics unfold, but we're starting it out with the facet joints. And why is that the case as well? Because the facet joints are the knuckles of the spine, and quite often we're describing what we do in the noise, that cavitation that occurs when an adjustment is delivered. We're addressing it in relation to the facet joint. So it's a core conversation. All of our Smart Chiropractor members are getting everything we're discussing right now in consumer speak. So we're breaking it down so it's easy to understand. We're giving you the video scripts, the email templates, and the social posts so you can get out there with this information. I always like to take a few minutes on this show and speak more at that professional level about why we're thinking about this topic and how you can think about the topic. But if you want help delivering this information in the best manner possible, that is where our Smart Chiropractor members live. That's what they get, and that's what we help them do. You can check that all out at thesmartchiropractor.com. Jason, thoughts on the topic that is about as big as it gets, how an adjustment works?
It is. I mean, that would seem to be a pretty obvious thing that people would want to teach people. I should say chiropractors would want to teach people. But that's part of why, this profession, I think, is sort of the tail's wagging the dog. There's so much emphasis / desperation on needing to get them in that we have a tendency to just simply lower our standards because of our need as a profession to get people in the door instead of teaching them what it is that they need to know about how their bodies work and why, making sure that they stay adjusted, stay well adjusted, stay aligned, keep motion and movement in place. However you like to teach your people about why you do what you do, that's the point. And that is what you're going to hear us talking about over and over and over. That's that consistency part, is making sure that you're not just deep discounting your way to new patients and lowering the bar, but in fact the opposite. You are raising the bar. You are attracting people that actually value what you do, not people who are willing to spend as little as possible to come check it out to get what they think you do, which is often a fast fix for free. If that's the kind of practice you want, then don't pay attention to anything that we're talking about. But if you are looking to attract people that value your work, that look to you as a doctor, not a discounter, that look to you for both the ability to help them get out of pain as well as understand this new idea that chiropractors actually can help you promote your well-being, help you improve your performance, can help all types of conditions in a variety of ways. More specifically, let me appropriately say, help your body heal from all sorts of conditions in all sorts of ways. Then teaching them on a regular basis, starting with how does an adjustment work, maybe one of the most important and valuable topics you can. Again, all complex doesn't have to be. Make your life simple. Check out thesmartchiropractor.com. This segment is sponsored by thesmartchiropractor.com. They make it all possible for us to get on here and teach you on a regular basis what you can be doing to teach them on a regular basis. Smart Chiropractor makes it super easy and simple. I'll even dare say maybe even a little bit fun. Sometimes fun is challenging yourself to do things that may feel a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes fun is getting all that feedback from people that see you wherever and go, saw your video, that was awesome, shared it with my friend, I've been trying to get them in here, etc. So just keep the formula going. Teach and bite consistently. How an adjustment works is one of those most important topics if you're a chiropractor that wants people to actually understand what it is that you really do.
That is correct. If you want to build a practice, you gotta be out front. You have to teach and invite consistently. We've seen that time and time again, and I think many docs are tuned into that, but they struggle with the implementation. If that sounds like you, then head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. We'd be happy to help you teach and invite consistently across all of those platforms that have the highest impact, so that you can attract more new patients, you can improve your retention, you can have more reactivations without spending any money on advertising. That is what we promise, and that is what we deliver for our members each and every month. And if we want to see a young doc who is doing this in action, let's head over to our highlight segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Is it possible to have a waiting list practice in less than 1 year after graduating? The answer to that question is absolutely yes. Jason and I were speaking with one such gentleman earlier today, and we're going to take a look. I'm going to share screen, Jason, to his Instagram page right now. This is Dr. Strat Paulson. He is out of Dallas, Texas. You might know him as a influencer online. Why? Because he has consistently taught and invited his audience since before he graduated, and he has kicked up the frequency of this since he has graduated, so that he is now at a place where his practice is near capacity in just about 1 year. Now, how did he do that? Did he do it with discount ads? No. Did he do it with SEO hacks? No. Did he do it by spinal screenings? No. What he did do was he has showed up consistently on his social media channels. His favorite is Instagram. Your favorite might be something else. But the platform doesn't matter. All of these channels has hundreds of millions, if not billions of people on them. The most important thing you can do is to choose at least one. If you want to choose more than one, go ahead. But choose at least one and then get to work. What do I mean by get to work? I mean teach and invite consistently. As I scroll down here, you can see he has focused a significant amount on video content. Now, we also focus a lot on video content within the Smart Chiropractor. All of our members each and every week receive a specific script that they can use to produce an awesome video that educates your community, that invites them to take a next step, and that can be the foundations of how you build your practice. And we can guide you through that process. There are plenty of great docs out there doing it. Strat is a great example of somebody who is taking action, and what do you know? As he's taken that action, he's gotten the results that go along with it. Jason, what are your thoughts on Strat, what he's been able to do, and what are the take-home messages for the docs listening and watching today?
He's just extremely impressive, and what's most impressive is his passion to want to help people and to teach them. In fact, both people and chiropractors. Chiropractors are people, but we're a special kind of people, you know. And he does an amazing job. It's been really awesome watching what he has created, what he's done. It has been an expression of his passion, and he has not let technology be an excuse as to why he can't get his message out. He actually just sort of leans into it a little bit and realizes it's actually pretty simple if you are really focused on wanting to be of service to people, not asking questions. If I do this, am I going to get that? I don't really have time. I don't really have energy. There's a simple premise and principle that the more people in your community that are aware of you, that know you, like you, and trust you, that see you as somebody who can help other people, the more of those people in your community that are out there, the more referrals and more clients you can expect to get to come to you when they're ready. Well, the question then becomes, well, how do you get all those people? And the answer is, get your message out there. If there's anything that's so ironic about all of this, it's that everybody knows everybody's addicted to these things every day, all day, throughout the day. You look at your screen time, and usually every week it's up another 20%, 30%. We spend hours on these devices each and every day. And the question is your message where they are? Are you putting yourself in their face? And the answer probably is no. And the question is, why? And if the answer is, well, I don't know what to do, or I think it's too hard, then you want to model after these other chiropractors we keep featuring who are doing it in a variety of different ways. There is no one size fits all, this is the only way approach. But what most chiropractors are coming to the conclusion of, that instead of what used to be, oh, I'll pay you guys to do it for me, or no, I'll do it myself, What many chiropractors, in fact, most of them are coming to the conclusion of, is a hybrid approach is the best way to go. Let companies like ours create the content, create the messaging, do the research, make it look beautiful, even help post it for you so that you now have a platform, a topic, a curriculum of what it is you can be sharing your unique take on. This week's topic, for example, is about adjustments. It's about the facets. Well, what is your unique perspective, your unique technique, your unique feelings about the importance of staying well adjusted and the value of what an adjustment does? That's sort of the 1-2 punch. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it as a jab and a hook. We talk about it as a hybrid strategy. Let us do most of the work for you so that the work that you do gets even farther, makes an even greater impact. It is that teamwork that really is the magic formula for making it both easy and effective. You want to do it the hard way, do it all yourself. Some have done that, and it's amazing to watch. But most of you don't have the time, the energy, the talent, the passion, the desire, all of the above to want to take it all on 100% yourself. Then let us help you do it. That is a great example of what Strat has been doing. And he realizes, as he's been teaching other people, that was kind of the takeaway from the conversation. He goes, I've been trying to teach people about what I do, and I recognize they're not going to do what I did. So it is about finding that sort of magic formula of what's doable, what's possible, and how do you get those results as quickly, easily, and efficiently as possible. That's the way to do it moving forward in the future.
There's only one way. You got to teach and invite consistently. That is the only way. If you'd like help with it, we'd be happy to do so. You can head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. We'll hook you up with those video scripts. Everybody knows how important it is to be present, whether you choose Facebook, TikTok, Snap, YouTube, you name it, Instagram. Being present, teaching, and inviting is the way to build a practice that's beyond, I think, question at this point. Everybody realizes it. Some might still be resisting, and I can understand that. There's a little bit of fear that goes with video. But if you have questions about strategic approach and the scripts to make it happen, we can solve those issues for you. That's Smart Chiropractor. Let's head over to our featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to the featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Today we're going to talk about using content and recurring revenue to build your dream practice. We had a conversation with Dr. Mike Mills not too long ago. Mike is a great chiropractor, awesome guy, and doing many of the right things by teaching and inviting his audience consistently, and he has built a great practice that utilizes recurring revenue and content to drive it forward. Here's the conversation we had and some takeaways that you'll discover to use in your practice about using content and recurring revenue to build your dream practice. Here's how Mike did it. Hey, Smart Chiropractors. Welcome to your featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch, and we have a special guest today, Dr. Mike Mills of Mills Chiropractic Center. Dr. Mike is also a health coach, a content creator, and as we're learning much, much more as we were chatting pre-roll, Mike, thanks for taking a few moments and talking with us today.
It's an honor. I appreciate the opportunity. This service has been a great value to my practice, something that really automated something that is important, right? That brings great value to my community and to my practice, but giving it the structure that it needed and the attention that it needed really started with connecting with you guys and giving me a system to follow through on that.
Well, it is our pleasure because you're one of the guys that takes action. We'll slip you the 20 later, by the way. Thank you for the shout out there. But on the content creation side, I've always been curious, and I'd love to take this time to ask you. You are a Smart Chiropractor member, and you are one of our docs who really takes content creation, I'm going to say seriously, meaning you are super consistent. You're not afraid to get out there. You shoot the videos, and you see the results as a result of that. Have you always been somebody that felt comfortable creating content? Was this something new for you? Trace it back, and how did you think about this, and how do you think about it today in terms of content creation in your practice and business?
That's a great question. And no, I didn't always feel comfortable doing that. For me, it just came with putting the vision first, right? I have a vision, a mission, and of what I'm trying to do to be in service to elevate the health of not just our community, but our country. And that allowed me to walk through that uncomfortableness. You know, when I really put the mission and the vision in front of myself, and realize that you know, just true authentic content is what people are starving for, right? They, you know, we worry about it looking perfect. We worry about it being polished, and honestly, that's not what connects with most people, in my opinion, the best. That really, when you just share from your heart what it is that you have to offer and what it is that you have to give, I guess those two words would be the two words that drive me. You know, what do I have to share and what do I have to offer, right? Because if we have something that we believe is extremely impactful, that brings a lot of value, the number one we have to do is make sure people are aware of it so that they have access to it.
Mike, you've been a great student, let alone an amazing example of what to do. We call that teach and invite consistently. It is exactly what you're saying. You got to have something to share, as in something to teach, and then something to offer, as in something to invite them to do.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I'd love to, you know, kind of expose to the profession, you know, how have you been using social media, email, video, all the different parts of the technology stack called the Smart Chiropractor? How have you been using it, both for, I'll say, new patients, but also one of the concepts we're bringing to the profession is this idea of building monthly recurring revenue to cover your monthly recurring expenses so that other chiropractors can afford to do what you're talking about, which is to sort of think about the big picture. You know, it's hard to be generous with service and think about, you know, helping people beyond just are you going to be a new patient? You're going to be a new patient. You're going to be a new patient. If you're the one that is suffering and needs the money more than they need the care. Too many chiropractors are in that situation. So how are you using these tools in a way that's helping grow your practice and grow your passion, you know, worldwide and doing what you do?
Yeah. You know, I think it's about building your reputation and who you are. You know, I use all components of the Smart Chiropractor. You know, I actually this morning I recorded my Wednesday video that my staff is probably right now putting out there. We do Monday motivation. We do, you know, Friday favorites. We do, you know, each component of it. We're using the blogs. We're using the in-office videos. We're using the handouts. So it creates a consistent message, and it really does an excellent job of blending the philosophy of chiropractic with the science of chiropractic. You know, and as a practitioner, that really takes a bit of a load off of me of, you know, communicating that message in a way that is evidence-based, research-based, philosophically sound. But then it allows you to get out into your community and create that reputation. And so, you know, I do that to attract people to what it is we're doing in our chiropractic office, which gives us the sphere of influencing those people that can physically get to us. And we do it through health coaching so that we can expand that and reach a greater number of people. And, you know, throughout the pandemic and the situation we have been in, you know, creating a revenue stream that allows that to happen really does create a lot of freedom. You know, one of my mentors was a great chiropractor by the name of Frank Savinsky. And he used to say, you know, don't be a needy doctor, that if you need them, you can't lead them. And I think you're referencing that often in the office, you know, we don't feel like we can share authentically because we're coming from this place of need rather than a place of service. And sometimes there's financial roots in that. And if we can grow beyond that, right, if we can expand our reach and create monthly reoccurring revenue that allows us to be able to say, listen, I'm taken care of here. I don't have to be here and be the needy doctor. I don't have to worry about my needs getting met. I can truly be in service to this person in front of me. It creates a lot of freedom. And so, you know, that was an avenue that I really expanded over the last couple of years to give myself a virtual option to expand my reach and help people through health coaching.
I'd love to explore that a bit, Mike, because you have a vision of service, yet you also are astute on the business of healthcare and the business of having a practice. And part of it you alluded to right then. We had connected, as you were getting going with things, and you're a trailblazer in terms of having a brick and mortar practice, yet creating monthly recurring revenue more passively through an online system. Many docs out there feel like they have to choose. It's one or the other, and they're unable to do both.
Yep.
I'd love for you to potentially dispel that myth, if it's actually a myth, and describe in detail what sort of coaching, how did you get started with it? What should docs know that they're maybe not thinking either big enough, or they just don't know some of those first steps in order to get started? What would you say to those docs?
It's kind of interesting. You already have patients, clients in your office that are seeking a wellness approach, right? And providing chiropractic care and addressing the neuromusculoskeletal aspect of that is critical. We know from an expense portion of healthcare, we have chronic disease related to obesity, heart disease, diabetes, all of that. And then we have this chronic pain, musculoskeletal. So if we can combine chiropractic care with lifestyle, we really have a 1-2 punch that addresses most of what's happening in healthcare. And so that was always my heart and soul, is that, provide the chiropractic care. But there is a lifestyle to this, right? We need to remove interference from the body and provide it for what's necessary, what's sufficiency, right? Body needs sufficiency and lack of interference. But how do we do that in a way that we can monetize it? How do we do that in a way that's efficient, that doesn't disrupt the flow of our practice, that actually creates time and financial freedom for us, right? I work with a lot of chiropractors, and, part of what I do now is I show chiropractors and other professionals how to build a health coaching business. How do you do this? How do you create this virtual income stream that works and is efficient? But for a lot of chiropractors, they love what they do. But if you can really get to the root of what their number one challenge or struggle is, it's time. It's time freedom. They're often, if they do have the financial resources, they've traded so much time for that they don't feel like they can do something else. And that's what creating this other avenue for me has done. That as I am traveling and doing things, last month I took a week and went to Arizona. This month I took a week and went to Florida. If that fluctuates the income of my practice a little bit, it's okay, right? I don't have to be stressed out about that, because I have other ways to generate real legitimate income that's already in our wheelhouse. This is already who we are. We're already standing at the table every day, health coaching. The issue is that we've never had a way to monetize that, to automate it, to make it efficient, and to get predictable results that isn't something that's something real and tangible and really lifestyle related, helping people to truly create a chiropractic lifestyle. So I think I'm answering your question on what I did and how I do that. But it really does allow people, chiropractors, the freedom to make the recommendations, offer the care, and do the things they want to do from a place of service, not a place of need.
I love that. That's clearly, where Jeff and I come from. I know it's where you come from. And sometimes I wonder, do you have to have that feeling first in order to want to generate the revenue? Do you have to generate the revenue first in order to kind of go, okay, I've got enough, now I can serve others? I don't know. That's probably what I would love for you to maybe dig a little bit deeper in, because I know this is a new concept for a lot of chiropractors. And, if I'm listening, I hear I've got to do more. And you said it earlier, I think the number one issue most chiropractors, suffer from is sort of lack of time, lack of mind capacity. I'm already busy enough as it is, and it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. The concept of adding a new project, a new thing, is almost like, you just can't put any more pressure into the system. However, different. And you've mentioned, automations, and you've mentioned sort of, what our service is able to provide for you and so on, not to be self-promotional, but to be real. Mm-hmm. How do automations actually give you more time to do more and really alleviate that suffering that so many chiropractors are suffering from? They don't have the time, but they can't grow. But you can't grow unless you do more or new thing. Like, there's this trap that they get into, and then it just becomes this "I need more new patients now" mantra, almost. I'll call it an addiction. Mm-hmm. How do automations, and how have you changed your thinking, evolved your thinking, adapted new technologies without blowing up, your mind and your system so that it's working?
Yeah. It's about leveraging your time in many ways. And the Smart Chiropractor is a perfect example of a way that I leveraged a lot of time. If you looked at before I had this system, the time I was spending in, what's my content going to be this month? What's it going to look like? How are we going to create these flyers for in the office? What are we going to do with our TVs in the office? What are we going to do on social media? I mean, you end up with decision fatigue to a degree, right? Where then you just end up not doing anything when, something as simple as this is, okay, I see what you're doing. I say, this is congruent with what I'm doing. I'm essentially kind of outsourcing the idea. There's just some basic functions that I have to have. I mean, it's a few minutes. I record one video a week. The staff is taking care of the other things. So my point is, where does this time come from? How do you use automation? You use a tool like the Smart Chiropractor, and you say, you know what? This is an area that we all need to focus on. So social networking is where the eyeballs are at. That's where people are. So how do we connect with that? And so you use a resource like this. I gained hours of time just by saying, hey, I'm going to connect up with the Smart Chiropractor. This is all done for me. Now I just personalize it. I put my personality into the system and the structure, and I go, and all of a sudden you just freed up time to do something over here. We do that with text messaging, with videos, with Zoom calls. All of those things are part of how we do health coaching. We have a system of videos and text messages that just, go out, keep me in connection. Then I only need to have periodic touch base with these clients so that they're on track. And the reality is we're trying to create self-efficacy in people. I'm not trying to create dependency on me as a health coach. I'm working to create self-efficacy where this person can lead themselves, right? And so we use essentially, if I could use the word, a curriculum of information to help people navigate this process of lifestyle change. And so we're leveraging resources and corporate relationships like this to free up our time to be in service and help people. So often in chiropractic, we're so stuck on, we have to invent it all ourselves, right? We have to brand it all ourselves. And you're spending hours and hours of time creating your own website, creating your own content, whenever really what people want to connect with is relational with you and your service. And what is the benefits to them, right? What is the service to them? And you can leverage relationships like this, which is what I do with health coaching. I leverage a relationship with another company. I leverage this relationship so that I can do what it is that I am skilled in, which is building, guiding, and leading through relationships with people.
Mike, I love it. And the key word there I want every listener and watcher to remember is leverage. It's utilizing the unique skill sets that other people might have so that you are able to impact more people, free up some time, have some more fun in the process. On the health coaching, curious, share as much or as little as you'd like. What's kind of the 12 to 24 month plan? Do you think this could be, equal to practice in terms of revenue? How do you think about it? What are you looking forward to as this year continues to evolve with your recurring revenue portion of what you do?
Absolutely. We are helping chiropractors to create an income stream that is equal to or exceeds what they're doing in practice in less time than what they are spending in their practice actually seeing patients. And so, when you do that, what we're seeing also is a growth on the practice side, because now we have a doctor that's showing up in a different state, right? Because they're not coming from a place of, needing that new patient. They're walking into that room in service to that new patient. And then all of a sudden what happens? Retention goes up, referrals go up. So, and what we've developed is, a lot of times chiropractors say, okay, what's the startup of this? We've really done this without, there's no startup cost, right? There's no inventory, right? How often have people got involved with this and now they have shelves worth of stuff sitting in their office that they feel pressure to have to move or to do, and now I have to try to either ship it or move it, or how am I going to do that whenever we have no inventory? We essentially no initial startup cost, right? It's just about building that relationship with the client, finding out what are their goals and what are their needs. I mean, that's ultimately what it is. I recently heard this stat. I need to research this a little bit more, but worldwide, you guys might be able to answer this. Worldwide, chiropractic generates somewhere around $2 to $3 billion a year. Am I?
I've heard something
close
similar
on that? Okay, so worldwide, okay, the weight loss industry alone in the United States is $78 billion. So what I'm saying is that, and what we do, weight loss is a component of it. It's not the focus of it. But if we're moving someone toward health, getting them to their ideal weight is part of that, right? But what I'm saying is that means if $78 billion, your patients are already doing this. They're already involved. They already get that lifestyle is important, right? They know that coming out of this last 2 or 3 years, what has happened to the physical health of most people, the mental health of most people is declining. They are looking for that resource. When you can stand up and share with them, listen, I have a system that's convenient, that's portable, that's easy, that works for the mom that's running the kids to soccer and to lacrosse and baseball and all of those places. And she's like, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of being tired and not having energy and being that mom. And, I'm in Pennsylvania. Summer's coming, right? We're going to be shedding the sweatshirts and, the coats, and they want to feel good about themselves. And when you can offer them a way to reduce their risk of chronic disease by getting healthy, provide them with chiropractic care so that they are neurologically and, neuromusculoskeletal in great health, you just elevated who you are in your community to a whole new place. And with technology like we're using right now, technology is now available that instead of my reach being 15 miles from my practice, my reach is I have clients in practically every state in the United States, because as long as I can virtually connect with them and get on the phone and I can send them what they need, we can serve them. Technology is an amazing way for chiropractic to expand who we are if we can embrace that. And in no way, shape, or form am I taking any credit away from what we are doing on the table. It's a powerful, powerful tool that needs to reach and expand to more people. But is it possible that when we elevate ourselves in this way and really help people get what they want, which is optimal health, right, that attracts more people to our table?
That is awesome. Mike, you're just throwing out so many gems. I want to make sure people are hearing, one of my favorite, mindset shifts is, selling is not serving. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to feel like you're selling. What you described, and I know what you're up to, and I'm hoping listeners are sort of getting curious and leaning in going, wait a minute, to elaborate on, you're not selling anything. You already have clients who actually expect this kind of thing from you. You're actually not serving them to your best ability when you hold back or limit your messaging to just what you make money from on a table. And, that's a total reframe. I'm sure chiropractors will think I'm crazy, but I am one, so I'm going to say it. And it's true. I mean, you can look at whatever green books you want to. Thoughts, traumas, toxins cause subluxations. So where did those come from? And, we can have all the philosophical interviews of or conversations of where you want to get in there. But, to the point of using technology, and I know we're running short of time, just help people understand just sort of the difference of the coordinated use of technology versus, oh, I got my website from there and my newsletter from somewhere else. And, I buy my TV videos from another company and, email. What do you mean by email? Like I have an email address. What are you talking about? Yeah. Can you, sort of briefly explain just how ridiculously simple and easy this is once you sort of see what really is going on and how it works together as a system?
Yeah, I mean, it is just such a relief to be able to have a congruent system of patient education, informing patients that reaches them in different means. There still are people that want that piece of paper that they can hold in front of them and read. There's other people that would much rather go to your website and read a blog. There's other people that are going to be on social media and want to see the video. They don't want to read anything. They just want to hear me do a video and talk about it. And so, we can take every aspect of that, right, through just using your system as an example. And instead of it being all these different ideas that don't really fit together congruently, this month we're focusing on, hey, what can we, how do we help athletes, right? Everything that I do in my office is going to be congruent with that. And I didn't have to come up with all that. I leverage my relationship with you guys to elevate my image, right? And it's really what all chiropractors know. It's just you have to be able to package that in a way that you're delivering it to people in a way that they want to receive it and can receive it, right? And so that's really all I'm doing is sharing what it is that we offer, right? And for some people, they might not be looking for that right now. Other people, that might be exactly what they're looking for. I happen to actually, do DOT physicals in my office also, right? Which, in some of the networks that I'm involved with chiropractically, that was like, wait, what are you doing, man? You're losing your focus. This isn't, but you know what? In my community, it drives a ton of truck drivers into my facility. They have an amazing experience. And guess what they say? Man, I'd love to come here for an adjustment. And guess what? The average truck driver has a 10-year life expectancy that's shorter than the rest of the population. Why? Because they're in a sedentary job and they're stuck in that truck. And now I can offer them a way to give them health coaching virtually as they're driving all over the country, right? And I'm helping them. What do they want? They don't want that DOT physical to be stressful every time they walk into my office. They're tired of worrying about their blood pressure and their blood sugar and are they going to lose their license and lose their job, right? But so why did I bring that in? Because I want more people to receive chiropractic care. I want more people to hear our message. And if bringing those truck drivers into my beautiful facility and building trust in a relationship with them gives me the ability to have a conversation with them about optimizing their health. And then I can give them a vehicle to help them with their neuromusculoskeletal system through chiropractic adjustments and say, hey, actually, I have a system that while you're sitting in your truck, we can help you get healthy, right? And you can talking about technology, you can listen to things as you're driving that are going to educate you about health and wellness. And guess what? I'm not physically doing any of those things, right? I'm just the person guiding them in the right direction and providing them with the service. And because there's a universal exchange happening here, I'm financially being rewarded for being the person that gave them that opportunity and pointed them the right direction and creating multiple streams of income so that I can walk into that room or up to that table and be fully present with serving that person. And when they sense that and feel that, right, we know that 7% of communication is the spoken or written word. The rest of it is body posture, voice inflection, right? They sense that when you're with them and they know that this person is giving me recommendations because they care for me and they want to help me, not because they need more visits from me.
That is a powerful way and probably the perfect place to close. I know we could keep going on and on with many more questions. Mike, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, showcasing to other docs what's possible when you set that vision. And thank you so much for being a part of our Smart Chiropractor group and being a shining example of a doc that takes action consistently. And as we heard about today, gets the results because of it. So Mike, thank you so much for coming on. We are definitely going to welcome you back in the future, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. It's great getting to work with you.
Awesome interview with Dr. Mike Mills. Mike, thanks for taking some time. Again, I will thank you publicly for doing so because he is a great example of when a doc understands the teach and invite consistently philosophy. We have highlighted many. We'll continue to highlight many more docs who have built great practices, big online presence, all variations of it. But what it does is it enables them, I think, as you can start to see here, to have a heck of a lot more fun with a heck of a lot less stress, as they know they have an audience of people that they're consistently connected to. It's about staying top of mind. It's about teaching and inviting. And when you do that, and certainly as you start to take those steps with the Payday practice and build in monthly recurring revenue, that's just a whole nother gear and a whole nother level. And the beautiful part is, you can do it. The step-by-step plan is out there. You do not need to be as charismatic as Brad Pitt to get it done. You can take one little step each and every day because that is actually how you do it. Small actions with consistency each day by building that audience, by crafting that membership and subscription, by beginning to generate that monthly recurring revenue bit by bit by bit. That's when you look back, just as you probably do with your practice, and say, man, look at where I was 90 days ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago. Look where I am today. And it's only through that daily action, Jason.
You know, Mike is so impressive for so many reasons, but he does follow the formula, the teach and invite consistently Payday practice formula. And there's a couple things I'll just highlight. He's passionate about helping people. He's authentic. He cares, and that matters. He's not doing this because, well, this would be a great way to supplement my income. It is the combination of the two issues. He actually cares about people. And when you actually care about people, you think about the things that can help them above and beyond the things that automatically make you money immediately in your practice. Like if it's not an adjustment, I'm not going to talk about it. He doesn't see it that way because he's patient or client or consumer centric. What are the things they need that would be appropriate for me to offer within your lane? I'm not saying you have to offer everything. You don't have to be Amazon or Walmart. Within your lane of the things that you know that your people consistently want. What are the problems they have you could easily solve? And from that point of view, it then becomes a really smart idea to go, well, what should I offer them? What could I offer them? How can I make it easy for them and easy for me and also make it worth my while? That is the sort of two-step formula. We call it build a health tribe and then invite them to a membership or subscription. You know, one of the most important ways to think about subscriptions or memberships is not that it's some thing you hook them on. Think about it from their point of view. This makes it easy for them to make things a lifestyle versus a try it. When something is part of your budget, when something is part of your schedule, because you're not just saying, I'll try it this month, you're saying this is something I should do consistently. That is actually in the best interest of the people that you are serving. So, of course, we're only talking about ethical and appropriate products or services that you would use consistently. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Too many of you are afraid to try to encourage somebody to stay consistent with something because you're afraid to get rejected because they may say, no, I can't afford it. You're just trying to sell me. Just focus on caring and serving and think about what are the things they need? What are the problems they have? You can help them solve. How can you also benefit when you do that? And you'll find, just like Mike has done and many others who are following the Payday practice formula are doing, you too can reduce your financial stress by being of even greater service to the people that are counting on you to show up as your best.
If you'd like to see more of what Mike has to say amongst a host of other chiropractors, please check out Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor, our podcast featuring each and every one of these interviews each and every week across all of your favorite podcasting platforms, I guess is the easiest way to say it. You can search Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor anywhere and get to it. Additionally, if you'd love to watch the video content, head over to the Smart Chiropractor YouTube channel. We have a playlist of all of these stacked and lined up so you can stream to your heart's content over at the Smart Chiropractor YouTube channel. But on today's segment, we are getting down to it, and we're going to head over to our Payday Practice segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to the Payday Practice segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. And today we're going to talk about how to achieve financial freedom, because it starts by building monthly recurring revenue. There's the punchline, so that you can have stability in your income and get off that roller coaster. We're going to explore why that's so important, as well as some of the action steps you can take today to make it happen. And step number one is going to be pick up a copy of the Payday Practice, which is the step-by-step guide. It's available on Amazon and paperback right now. But Jason, when we talk about financial freedom, the steps to get there, and why recurring revenue, monthly recurring revenue, is so important to it, why is that the case?
It's a really simple concept. It is the fact that if you know you've got monthly recurring expenses month after month after month, and if you're a practicing chiropractor, you probably have some sort of rent or mortgage or both. You've got staff or insurances and loans or all of the above. You've got a variety of financial obligations you're on the hook for every single month. And so ask yourself, if you've got to pay bills month after month after month after month, regardless of whether you show up, whether you don't show up, whether you're open, whether you're closed, they are obligations, then what we have discovered is a very simple understanding that if you could guarantee your monthly recurring revenue to pay those guaranteed monthly recurring expenses, you would find yourself in a much different place than the way most chiropractors practice, which is the hard way. Most chiropractors practice on a transactional basis that starts at zero in collections every single month. That is the hardest way you could possibly choose to practice. And if you like doing it the hard way, then that's on you, but we don't. We think that when you can get the finances out of the way, when you can know that you can feel comfortable, calm, secure, and confident that the bills you are responsible for will be handled, you've handled your responsibilities, you've handled your business, that actually changes the entire equation from selling to serving. You can now afford to serve people based on what you authentically know is in their best interest, not based on what you now need this month to catch up to whatever financial responsibilities that you have. It is flipping the business model on its head. It is approaching it from a completely different perspective, not much different than what you hope people do when it comes to their health and or pain relief. Most common approaches, hardest way, people are doing it the hardest way possible. Let's just take the medication. That'll give me the quick relief, and ignore the cause of the problem over time to let it get worse. Well, guess what? If you're practicing transactionally, starting at zero each and every month, you're kind of doing the same thing. You are focused on today's immediate gratification. You're solving the emergency without looking at the cause of the problem. The cause of the stress in your practice is most likely a financial stress. And the other problem with going back to zero each and every month and starting that way is that you can reach great goals, but oftentimes your expenses will keep on creeping up if you don't start thinking in this minimum viable monthly income type of approach. It's called handling your responsibilities, so then you can go out and have a good time. We all hopefully learned that in some version when we were kids. Get your homework done, take care of what you need to take, your chores around the house, then you're free. It's the same kind of idea. Handle your monthly recurring expenses by generating monthly recurring revenue. Now, the Payday Practice ebook, and also available on Amazon, will go into deep detail about the 3 different ways you can be generating monthly recurring revenue. And you can pick 1, 2, or all 3 and package them together in your unique individual approach to either memberships and or subscriptions. We go into a lot of detail about the different choices and that different options you have to really craft the ultimate way you want to deliver services to people. Just like other guests you'll hear us interview on interviews by the Smart Chiropractor, you're going to see that this is doable, that people are doing it, and you can too. It starts with understanding that the goal line has changed, that the model, the business model, the thought, the approach is unlike anything you've probably been taught in chiropractic school or even by your coaches and consultants. It is a very simple methodology that the smartest people in the room and many of the largest, most valuable businesses in the world use to grow and build their solid business. You can too. We want to help you do it. It's called the Payday Practice. You can pick it up at thepaydaypractice.com or on Amazon. Jeff, this has been a labor of love, and yet it's always a challenge. We all know as chiropractors, you've got to you fit in one camp or the other. Do I give people what they think they want, or do I go through the effort, the chore, to teach them what they really need? In our case, we know what they need. They need to be able to handle their finances so they can bring the fun back in practice. Jeff, your thoughts?
I could not agree more. I think building monthly recurring revenue is something every single chiropractor on planet Earth needs to understand. And the beautiful part about this is we've spoken to chiropractors that practice just about every single way you can imagine. And there is a way to generate monthly recurring revenue regardless of how you approach practice. That's the beauty of building a payday practice, is it's really crafting your membership and subscription. Now, how do you do that? That's where we're going to actually pick up the book. It's more than we can get into in this video specifically, but that's where the book outlines it step by step, as well as our accelerator training, which really puts it into action. So if you are a doc out there that would like to stabilize your revenue for future growth, if you feel like you've been on the hamster wheel or the roller coaster each and every month starting at zero, and you would like that to change, you can. But you have to take steps, and the first step is to understand the strategy to implement, and we lay out that entire strategy in the Payday Practice. So a book is an easy place to start. We will even hook you up. You're part of our audience. If you want a digital copy, we'll give it to you for free. You can head over to thepaydaypractice.com, or if you want to go one level up, we would love it if you picked up a paperback version. That also gives you the chance to write on it, take the notes, do all that kind of stuff. I think Jason does as well. We love paperback versions of books, and you can pick up any either at Amazon, as well as a Kindle version is also available on Amazon, making sure I got all of the options there. So we're super excited about the book. The feedback's been awesome, and we're looking forward to it changing practices. We've already seen the inklings and seeds of that being planted, even though it was released just a few weeks ago. We've been talking with some chiropractic influencers as well as non-chiropractic influencers on ways that this can be implemented into their practice, and the seeds of them building their payday practice are starting. So if you would like to get on that, get off the roller coaster, get on the train, you can do so by grabbing the Payday Practice. And this has been another awesome episode of the Smart Chiropractor Show. So thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. If you haven't enabled notifications, if you're checking this out on social media, please do so. That way you won't miss any future episodes. And if you want to check it all out, or you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That enables you not to miss anything. We have some awesome stuff coming up, YouTube specific. We'll get to that on future and subsequent episodes. But thanks for being a chiropractor. Thank you for listening and watching this show. Take some action, have some fun. If you have questions, reach out to us or our team. And on behalf of Jason and our entire team, we will see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.